Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to our latest webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly. And I'm absolutely excited today to say we're joined by Sally Cope, who is, of course, the Regional General Manager for the UK and Northern Europe for Tourism Australia. And you're here for a very good reason, Sally, because last night, a big launch for you guys, and something goes live this very day, this morning, all around the world. It's your new global campaign, and I want you to tell us all about it.
Thanks, Lucy. Yes, so excited. It's been quite a few years in the making and preparing to come to this point. Obviously, after 2 years with everybody's wings clipped, now is the time to relaunch our global brand campaign. For many, many years, we've worked on the marketing platform There's Nothing Like Australia.
Yeah.
This is the next iteration. The brand campaign comes with the very welcoming invitation of come and say g'day. And last night we introduced our new global tourism ambassador, who is Ruby Roo. She's a CGI animated kangaroo, voiced by Australian actress Rose Byrne.
Lovely, absolutely lovely. And it's just so nice to be talking about something so positive. And I know she's had a great reaction so far, and I'm sure she will as it goes live today. But this is, as far as I understand, you haven't done a global campaign for a number of years, have you? So this is a big deal for you guys.
A very, very big deal. We did a lot of research, and I guess we had the time while the pandemic was happening to really do a lot of research. We knew that the world would be opening almost simultaneously. So we looked to come up with a campaign that, first of all, we could launch globally, so 15 markets around the world at the same time. And secondly, to really cut through what is a very competitive travel marketplace. There's a lot of destinations advertising right now. And we wanted it to be distinctly Australian, unmistakably Australian. So first of all, the welcome g'day. We believe that every Aussie adventure starts with a g'day. And when an Australian says, g'day, how you going? That's a very earnest opening line. People are naturally curious down there and very warm and welcoming. We also looked at, I guess in marketing speak, our brand codes and what is it that people see and know it can be nothing else except Australia.
Yeah.
And in those 15 source markets around the world, the number one brand icon that just stood out was the kangaroo. So the fact that we've created this really cute, lovable Ruby, she's actually a box fresh plush souvenir.
Yeah.
And the story is she's been sitting on a shelf in a souvenir store on the Great Barrier Reef, and she's making her big breakout, and she's curiously traveling all around the country. So
yes. And she meets another little character as well, doesn't she?
It's quite unusual what we've done, but once again, because it's really to cut through and be memorable, the launch platform for the campaign is actually a short film. So it's 9 minutes long. From today, everyone can find it on YouTube. So just search for G'day the movie, or on the Tourism Australia website, you'll be able to find it as well. And by creating this film, what we've really done is enabled us to set up the backstory of Ruby. Her little buddy is a unicorn, and he represents the international traveller. I think he's hilarious because the actor who is voicing over Louis is the American comedian Will Arnett.
Yeah.
He's got this really gruff, gravelly voice.
Yeah.
This little cute, sparkly unicorn character. So it's effectively a buddy movie, and Ruby is taking Louis all around the country. The film effectively starts and finishes in Uluru. And it's enabling us to really, I guess, build out the narrative, show the vastness of the country, the diversity of the experiences. Yeah, it's good.
And it's quite an investment because you've name checked, a couple of actors there or comedians, but the director is from The Greatest Showman.
So Michael Gracie, another Aussie. You
Yeah.
are, yeah, you The Greatest Showman.
So
And
this
when
is top.
people see the ads, so the 60-second television commercial, there's another very memorable, iconic Australian thing included, which is the soundtrack. So
Yeah.
the song "Land Down Under" has been rewritten and re-recorded by a upcoming new band from the Northern Territory, from East Arnhem Land. So they're an Indigenous band, and their name is King Stingray, and they've re-recorded "Land Down Under," and part of the lyrics are in their traditional language,
Brilliant.
Yolngu from Arnhem Land. So it just sounds so rich, and yeah, it's a bit of an earworm. I warn you in advance.
Oh no, we're looking forward to it. Now, so you talked about it being this 5-minute film, that's the basis of it. But how are we going to see it then translated across all different sort of channels? Where will we sort of see little iterations of it?
Well, hopefully everywhere. The UK is such an important market for us. So we have a heavyweight media plan in place that's rolling out from this week. It will run through to the end of the year. We're collaborating with partners in the new year. So when we get into the peak booking period, we'll be doing lots with our trade partners and airlines and so on. So you'll see it on TV, you'll see it in cinemas. Lots of big high impact out of home placements, huge billboards around the country, some really clever ways it's been integrated. For example, you'll see Ruby hopping down the escalators on the
Oh,
underground in
amazing.
London.
I love
Yeah,
it. So we're
very
going to
cool.
really get to know her, aren't we? And we're going to see her everywhere popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
she's so cute and joyful and uplifting and curious. I think people will fall in love with her. And by having this backstory with the film, we're really setting her up. So hopefully she will then have longevity, and you'll see additional iterations of Ruby in campaigns in the future.
Yeah, and actually, I think we spoke to Flight Centre and Yvonne there. She was saying she felt this was really going to resonate with Brits. And why do you think that is? I mean, we've had a love affair with Australia, haven't we, for years? And we've not
Yeah.
been able to go, I guess, for a long time because the borders only opened, I think, in February. So why do you think she says that? Why is it going to resonate with us particularly?
I think this campaign is unashamedly leaning into lots of really familiar things that people know about Australia, and it's reminding people of a lot of the reasons that they love Australia. So there is a sense of nostalgia as well as modernity in the campaign. We've spoken to a lot of trade partners in the lead up to this and tested the campaign, and there was a general consensus that yeah, it feels nostalgic and warm and friendly. And I think that's what people
Yeah,
really feel like now. The other interesting thing is we actually worked with a company here in London to do consumer testing on the ad itself.
yeah.
And they did that across all the markets that we're showing the campaign, and it tested so highly here. So I don't know if there's something about Brits that they just love the concept of an animation. One day I hope maybe, Ruby might meet Paddington or something like that.
Oh, that is amazing. That could be that could be like next year's film when they
Yeah,
actually meet.
exactly.
I love it. I love it.
Exactly.
So while I've got you, Sally, I mean, it's very exciting, and you're saying there's definitely sort of real optimism at the moment. I know we
Yep.
spoke at the ABT convention. We were
Yep.
together last week, and it definitely felt like there was some
Yeah.
optimism. But just give us an idea of what's been happening with bookings and demand for as Australia's opened again. I mean, what are you seeing, and are you seeing this sort of interest in long haul coming through again now?
Yeah. It's I think optimism is a great word, and that definitely came out of the APTA convention last week. I agree. When our borders opened at the end of February, we got a real surge of demand immediately from the UK, which was very telling of the strong connections between the Australia and the UK. I think it was, people wanting to reconnect with friends and family, and that was the initial driver of the demand. We're now, from talking to our trade partners selling the destination, that real leisure business is coming in now. People are reporting that longer itineraries, more immersive itineraries going into the country and so on. So I feel like the time is right now to showcase the vastness and the diversity of experiences. I think if people have had their wings clipped for a couple of years, they are now looking to go big and have
Yes.
a full holiday. The other thing is that we want to maintain that momentum. So there's a very strong argument for us to launch this campaign now to keep the momentum going. At the moment, our aviation capacity into Australia is hitting about 60% of what it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So if we can give the airlines and the confidence that we're still driving that demand and we can keep the momentum going, then they will continue to add capacity to the route.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you need that.
So it's sort of feeding the machine a little bit.
What were you at in terms of numbers or arrivals from the UK pre-COVID, Sally? So just so we know how far you've got to go to get back to those 2019 levels.
December 2019 was around 720,000 Brits visited Australia that year. So in our terms of value, the Brits are a really strong, important market. It was the fourth largest market for visitation, but the third largest for spend and the second largest for dispersal. So Brits just go for longer, spend more. So they're really valuable to regional Australia. And therefore, incredibly important for us to keep this market moving.
We're adventurous. We go beyond Sydney. Is that what you're saying? Okay, good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. All right. So you mentioned the trade there, that you've obviously talked to a lot of them in, as you've been planning this campaign, but in terms of how they can get behind it, obviously we're going to see everything as we're out and about, which is great, but can they access any toolkits or anything so they can actually really get behind it for you?
Absolutely. So we've created a toolkit which has got lockups of the Come and Say G'day logo. You can use Ruby. We just ask that you apply online through our trade website, and our marketing team will work with you to make sure that you're leveraging the campaign as best you can. But we invite any travel agents out there who are interested to definitely get in touch, because we do have such a significant spend in this market. It would be great if you can leverage that. We'd love you to.
I'm sure they'll want to. There'll be rubies in travel agency windows. All out. That's what we want all around the country.
Exactly what we want. We want Ruby to be famous.
Oh, well, it sounds like she's going to. And we can't ignore the current economic crisis. I don't want to talk about anything negative because this is such a positive story. But I think it says something that you're continuing with this, even though we are having some issues in our country. So that's you've obviously made a concerted decision to continue with this, even though there are some concerns. And why have you done that, Sally?
That's right. We have. We've definitely got a huge cohort in the UK who are still able to travel, and I think I'm talking about slightly older people with time on their hands and money in the bank. They're definitely still able to travel. Another big cohort for us out of the UK market is the gap year backpacker. And you could argue in both cases, there is a very positive argument for taking an extra long trip right now and actually making it in the nicest possible way. So from our perspective, obviously we're watching the cost of living crisis and the economy and everything as closely as we possibly can, and we're not going to fritter away on a campaign if we don't think that it will actually drive positive outcomes. At the moment, we're still optimistic that we can do that, but we're monitoring the situation very closely.
Of course you are, but honestly, it's so fantastic that you are continuing with it, and that we've got something really exciting to speak about all the way up, as you say, to the end of the year, in the hope that come the peaks, which we're all fingers crossed is going to be a good peaks, and hopefully people will be really excited to sell Australia. I can see it in your face how excited you are. You really do look so excited about this.
We're back to doing what we're supposed to be doing. It's so fun. I'm really, I'm feeling really optimistic about this one. It's good.
All right. Well, listen, I guess people can log on once they've watched this. They can go onto YouTube or go onto your website and see Ruby and Louis, the unicorn, and listen to that fabulous soundtrack that you talked about. I mean, we wish you all the best, Sally. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
is exciting, and as you say, it's just so nice to be getting back to a bit of normality, and we hope it works for you, and we hope lots of people get behind it.
Thanks, Lucy. I appreciate your time.
All right, all the best.